Looks quite good. It has no door here, but that is fine. That is actually kind of common now. Actually, the floor has little paint spots and stuff on it, but that's actually very fine. It's good. Looks very nice.
Nestled along Canada's beautiful southwestern prairie is the tiny town of Kipling, Saskatchewan.
That's the 2 bedrooms.
The population is so sparse,
Nice living room.
animals outnumber the residents. In a town this size, everyone knows one another. It's a fairly quiet farming community. It's a hill climb. We may have up to 5
There's GFIs there, so that's good. That will probably need to be pushed back a little bit. But they also might accept that because it has a cover on there. Looks very good. Well, it looks a little bit old, but it's still nice. And then see, so it's probably going to require a little bit of hardware here. So small, quaint little kitchen, but looks very good. As we discussed before, the stove and everything really doesn't mean anything to me other than knowing that it's a gas one, because we don't want to leave it for anyone. We want them to bring their own. The kitchen counters look very new. Another way to tell, like it's still got all the little rubber ones and they're all very new. So these must be newly put in. It's the older, cheaper style, but doesn't look that old, which is nice. I'm just peeking through at the windows. They look fairly good. They will do a test to see whether they open and stay open, but that is just something you kind of got to deal with over time anyway, and make sure they do that. We go down into the basement. So everything here looks fairly fine. That up there is let's see if there's a control for it, because the vents on there say that was a one of the attic fans, and usually there's a control for those, but they might not have the motors or anything anymore for it. It might just be a sealed up part. So we got up here, that's no problem, it's just a bit of trim and stuff that's easily fixed. This will be our little cellar. Now, basements, the one thing to know about basements is they're allowed to be basements. So it's not expected that they're perfect, it's not expected that they're finished. They're expected to, if they can be mostly dry, and it's very hard to do in Michigan. So as we can see, there's a little bit of moisture around here. We have had some extremely heavy rains on and off for the last 2 days. So what we were seeing, anything we see in here will generally be the worst that it could get, because we've had like almost tornado hail like rain for a little while. So as you can see, there's a crack across there with some water coming through, but it also looks like the water's not, it's coming in, but it's seeping. There's not an active flow through. I'm gonna go across here. And the camera's a nice way to do this. As you can see, there's not, it's pretty flat. I'm not seeing a bow or pushing out in the wall. This side over here looks fairly dry. This will be our other half a bath here, which is a toilet. And they generally have no issue with those so long as they work. So there's a nice kitchen sink down here, not attached. And this is our water main. Most of the side over here, electrical panel. Most of the side over here looks fairly dry. The property runs fairly steady down a hill around the property. So the only way to really get rid of water is French drains. Exceedingly expensive. Most of the time not worth it. Just for the property, most of the properties aren't worth putting anything like that in, especially for a rental. A lot of the times you can fix some of these with just a grading. So there'll be a part where the water's pooling in the back, and we can have a look at that and see if that might be what an issue is. Otherwise, you can also do temporary fixes where we seal the cracks, put dry lock on. We do that with a lot of shanks, and then it's not going to leak while tenants are there for a while, but you're going to expect that every 3 to 5 years, if there is still water penetrating, the dry lock holds it in that, and then you're actually going to have to do some liquid concrete, some hydraulic concrete or that. You're going to have to rebuild back up the areas and then re-dry lock it every like 4 to 5 years, because it still is going to penetrate. So I would expect that is probably one, and it might not even be coming from most of the crack. It could be coming from the edge of the windowsill, because the ground level could be right there. I'm going to take a thing and step on this even though I'm wearing my socks. Yeah, and this one's pretty easy to see that it's got a small push out here, but it's actually not pushing out that hard. So that one, I would hydraulic cement all of that in there, get that done through there, and then dry lock over the top of that, and then look at what it is outside that could be causing it to come down. Out of the basement and upstairs now, and this actually has a nice little fence to it. I was kind of not expecting that from the outside, actually. So this would mean we have to inspect and just double make sure over there is sealed off, and it looks like there is no fence there, and I'm not sure if there's meant to be one. So I don't know if this goes all the way across. So we'd have to find that out. If it goes all the way across, then this could be a nice one for people who have dogs. If it doesn't, then might have to have a small fence just to go across and split where it does. That is a very large tree, so those are always worrying. However, most of the larger trees have survived, well, recently, a couple of tornadoes or hurricanes or whatever came through some of the areas, so they've survived that so far, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. I'll look over here. So this is probably going to need a little bit of grading up down here, and we'll see on the other side of the fence a little bit later when I go around, because that's where the area of issue is, and I'll be back. So this is the side And there's a garden here. So we've got, this will be our back window part there. So as you can see, it comes up a little bit. I know how easy this is to see. And it comes up right in line with the wood frame, which means there's probably a bit of that frame that's under the actual dirt. So really, that's no problem much at all. Like, really, it's I would actually dig out a little bit and then put your protective plastic sheets through there and down under the garden a little bit, and then put the garden soil back there. And so long as that's got somewhere to flow, then that should eliminate most of that, as well as leave someone with a nice bit of a garden. The other option is to actually just remove all that from being a garden there. And then she did inform me that it does come with this whole area here, and the entire backyard is part of this one. So it means they could just have a garden somewhere else instead of it being here against the side of the house, and we could clear that all out. So awesome. So far I like the area, because this is one of the areas that I've pushed your uncle-in-law to as well. I've shown him a couple of houses over the other side, so this is a very good area. I like where this location is. And when you come here from California next, I'll drive you across the street and show you where all the big mansions are, where I know a couple people who live. And this is actually, I like this one. This is a nice little hidden gem. So a little bit of cleanup around, and it does have the air conditioner there. So little air conditioner, which is great. Like I said, a lot of the houses here don't have air conditioners. So
Another big yard back here.
yeah. So this is exceptional.